Chapter 9, Being Prepared for a State Agency Review. This lesson will prepare learners for a CACFP State Agency Review, as outlined in Chapter 9 of the CACFP Administrative Manual. CACFP centers are required to have a state agency review at least once every 3 years. New centers, for-profit centers, and centers that need assistance may be reviewed more often. Reviews may be announced or unannounced. The state agency is required to perform some unannounced reviews. Officials from the Iowa Department of Education, USDA, or the Office of Inspector General may conduct a review at any time. Government officials are required to present photo identification during unannounced reviews. CACFP centers should be prepared for unannounced reviews since they may occur at any time. All records must be on file, up to date, and easily available for review. CACFP records must be retained for 3 fiscal years plus the current year. Records for the current fiscal year must be readily accessible, but additional records may be requested. Sponsored center facilities or sites and independent centers must have the following records on file: menus, food production records, meal participation records, attendance records, enrollment forms, and a current license or alternate form of approval. This may include documentation showing the center is in the licensing or renewal process. If the organization is a center sponsor, these records should be available in the central office. All organizations, including center sponsors and independent centers, must have the following records on file: free and reduced price applications, annual summary list of participants eligible for free and reduced price meals, or for Head Start centers, lists of children who are automatically eligible for free meals, monthly claim for reimbursement worksheet, also known as the CNP 50, a sample enrollment packet, which should include an income application and parent letter, CACFP enrollment form, and Building for the Future brochure. CACFP related staff training records, monthly copies of the site claim report, claim for reimbursement summary, and cost claim details printed from the Iowa CNP, CACFP permanent agreement, a current application approval letter, recent memos, current CACFP manual, most recent state agency review letter or letters, and most recent audit report if applicable. All organizations must have a monthly cost claim details worksheet available, which documents reported monthly CACFP income and expenses. Refer to Chapter 5 for a sample form. Documentation of CACFP income must include receipts for meal payments, pricing institutions only, copies of bills, checks, or deposit slips for meals sold on contract if applicable, documentation of any other income designated for the CACFP food service, and documentation of the receipt or deposit of CACFP reimbursement received. This may include a direct deposit warrant, deposit slip, or official accounting ledger entry. Documentation of CACFP operating expenses includes itemized food receipts, canceled checks showing payment for CACFP related expenses, and food service labor costs, if reported. If less than 100% of labor time is spent on CACFP, a daily time log is needed. If 100% of labor time is spent with CACFP, accounting ledgers or pay stubs must be on file. Any other operating expenses reported must have documentation to support its expense. If including CACFP administrative labor and benefits, a daily time log is required if less than 100% of labor time is spent on CACFP. Document any other CACFP administrative expense reported. Center sponsors must have the following records on file: pre-approval visits for each new center site, monitoring reviews for each center site, and documentation of any household contacts that have been conducted. At the conclusion of the CACFP review, the consultant or consultants will conduct an exit conference with center representatives. If desired, board members may be included in this meeting. The CACFP authorized representative, board president if applicable, and/or other managing staff will receive a report detailing the observed commendations or good management practices, required changes, and recommended changes. The consultant may require completion of additional forms or adoption of prescribed procedures that are not required for all centers to help you achieve compliance. For continued CACFP participation, all required changes must be explained in a written corrective action plan and submitted to the state consultant by the date specified in the review report. This is usually within 30 days. All required changes must be permanently maintained. Any negative or adverse decision, such as a downward claim adjustment, denial of claims, or demand for repayment of reimbursement, may be appealed using the CACFP appeal procedures outlined in the manual. If you are required to repay reimbursement, revised claims are usually submitted and the repayment is taken from future claims. If this method of repayment does not result in full repayment within required time frames, the center must repay claims from other funds. An institution and responsible principals and/or individuals may be declared seriously deficient based on the review findings. The following are reasons for seriously deficient declaration. Findings are serious. Findings are numerous. Required corrective action is not made within the required time frames, or required corrective action is not permanent and is repeated from one review to the next. If a seriously deficient declaration is made, a separate notice will be sent describing the serious deficiency, pertinent regulation citations, required corrective action, and timeframes. Failure to complete corrective action within the required timeframes may result in termination. Termination may be appealed using the CACFP procedure outlined in the manual. If terminated, the organization and responsible people are placed on the national disqualified list for up to 7 years. If the consultant identifies conditions that endanger the participants' or public's health or safety, or identifies a false or fraudulent claim, the consultant may propose to immediately suspend or stop payment to a CACFP institution. Suspension may be appealed using the procedure in the manual. This concludes the lesson on Chapter 9. If you have questions, please contact your CACFP consultant or the state agency. Contact information can be found in the front of the manual.